Kylian Mbappe probably never imagined that in just 1 week he would slip so far from the Ballon d'Or race for the year 2025. Once the leading candidate at the start of the season, praised by the media as the frontrunner for football's most prestigious award, especially after a blistering run of form in January, Mbappe now finds everything slipping from his grasp. However, the door has not completely closed for Mbappe and Real Madrid. 2 crucial El Clásico matches remain, each representing their final chances in 2 remaining competitions, the Copa del Rey and La Liga. If they fail to secure at least 1 trophy, Real Madrid will almost certainly miss out on the Ballon d'Or gala for the 2nd consecutive year. Real Madrid has already been eliminated from the Champions League in painful fashion, and with the silver trophy out of reach, every calculation tied to individual accolades has collapsed. Despite maintaining one of the top goal and assist ratios this season, Mbappe is now weighed down by the shock of being part of a team that was built to dominate Europe, but fell short when it mattered most. In the modern football landscape where collective achievements are the ultimate platform for personal glory, Mbappe can only watch as the race continues without his name among the favorites. He is not alone. The rest of Real Madrid's stars are also tumbling out of contention. Vinicius Jr., once tipped as the natural heir to Messi and Ronaldo, failed to leave a meaningful impact in the Champions League. His name fades in comparison to explosive performers like Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, and even Ousmane Dembélé. Jude Bellingham, Bernabeu's pride in the first half of the season, faded just as the campaign reached its most demanding stretch. The loss to Arsenal only highlighted the drop in both physical condition and mental sharpness from the English midfield. Meanwhile, across Europe, a new wave of contenders is dominating the Ballon d'Or spotlight. Rafinha is enjoying a mythical Champions League run, comparable to what Messi or Ronaldo once produced. If Barcelona lifts the trophy, Rafinha's case will be undeniable. 17-year-old Lamine Yamal is writing a true fairy tale, bursting onto the scene in both La Liga and Europe with a natural magnetism reminiscent of a young Messi. He is capturing the hearts of fans and experts alike. Ousmane Dembélé, once doubted and criticized for his long injury history, is now having the best season of his career. If he leads PSG to Champions League glory, Dembélé will have a legitimate claim for the award. In the dark horse category, Lautaro Martinez quietly builds his resume with Inter Milan's unbeaten run, while Declan Rice, once considered an outsider, has surged into the top 10 contenders after 2 epic performances against Real Madrid. At 26, that is no small feat. Neither Inter nor Arsenal is guaranteed Champions League triumph, but if one of them does, their brightest star will inevitably force their way into the upper ranks of the Ballon d'Or race. Amid all this, Real Madrid, a club that once dominated the Ballon d'Or for over a decade, now faces a harsh truth. Nearly all of its representatives have dropped out of the leading pack. The Great Purge is not just happening on the pitch, it is happening in the realm of individual glory too. Real's golden icons are being replaced by a younger, more explosive, and most importantly, more successful generation. Talking about this year's Ballon d'Or, Real Madrid feels like a fighter who has lost both momentum and his gloves. Because in football, silverware is the cornerstone of recognition, and right now, Real Madrid is running out of chances. They still have the Copa del Rey Final, but if they lose to Barcelona once again, the season will end in total heartbreak. In La Liga, Real trails Barcelona by 7 points, even with a game in hand. Winning it would only narrow the gap to 4 points, with just 6 rounds remaining. It is a daunting task, one that demands both character and a stroke of luck, namely, hoping that Barcelona stumbles. The issue is, this Barcelona under Hansi Flick is far from flawless, but they know how to survive, especially when it matters. Their thrilling 4-3 win over Celta Vigo is proof. That match was not just emotional, it was a statement. They know how to finish. The biggest problem for Real Madrid right now is not just form or squad depth. It is the undeniable fact that they have not beaten Barcelona even once this season. From the 1-3 loss in the Spanish Super Cup to the crushing 0-4 defeat in La Liga, the white shirts have been thoroughly outplayed, both tactically and emotionally. That means, even with a head-to-head clash still on the horizon, belief in a turnaround is virtually non-existent. In every decisive moment, Real has come up short. No major trophies, no symbolic victories over their fiercest rivals. What foundation is left for a serious Ballon d'Or campaign? Flip the question. In this current Real Madrid squad, who is truly in position to win the Ballon d'Or? Mbappe, Bellingham, Vinicius, all have fallen behind after the devastating Champions League exit. And if this season ends without a major trophy, then even scoring 30 or 40 goals might not be enough to leapfrog names like Rafinha, Dembélé, or even Mohamed Salah, players with both stellar numbers and a real shot at winning something big. Because at its core, Real Madrid holds itself to sky-high standards. A worthy season means winning either the Champions League or La Liga. At the very least, it means claiming a domestic double with the Super Cup and the Copa del Rey to uphold their status as a superclub. This year, the shadow of a trophyless season looms large over Real Madrid, and along with it, the individual hopes of their stars in the Ballon d'Or race are beginning to collapse. Unless Real pulls off a dramatic turnaround in the Copa del Rey or manages to stay in close pursuit of Barcelona in La Liga, they will almost certainly be absent from football's most prestigious gala, the Gathering of Kings. At a club like Real Madrid, this outcome would only make the summer of 2025 even more turbulent, because in reality, everything is closely tied to the Ballon d'Or, not just a matter of goals or assists. The Ballon d'Or winner is not simply the player with the most impressive numbers. He is the one who stirs the strongest emotions in the biggest matches during the moments when the whole world holds its breath. Vinicius Jr. last season was the clearest example. He was not the top scorer, but he delivered clutch moments that changed the outcome of matches, and that earned him the silver ball in near-unanimous agreement. This season, Kylian Mbappe has kept his numbers strong, scoring frequently, providing steady assists, but everything unraveled after the 5-1 loss to Arsenal in the Champions League quarter-finals. Two quiet legs against Mikel Arteta's defense, within a lifeless and disconnected Real Madrid side, erased all the momentum Mbappe had built earlier in the year. From a near-certain place in the top three, he has dropped into the 6-7 range, and with no trophies left in reach for his club, no amount of media hype can save his candidacy. The last image people will remember of Mbappe is not a goal, but the look of helplessness on his face amidst the Emirates disaster. Jude Bellingham finds himself in a similar situation. But unlike Mbappe, there is more sympathy for Bellingham. He has been Real Madrid's best player this season, vital in every area of the pitch. He was once considered a serious contender for the Ballon d'Or had Real reached the Champions League final or stayed closer to Barcelona in La Liga. Both Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappe could have comfortably secured a spot in the top three, perhaps even the top two. But once Real Madrid collapsed in Europe's biggest competition, every individual achievement, no matter how spectacular, suddenly feels isolated and meaningless. So, is there still a chance? The answer is yes, but it is an incredibly slim one. Real Madrid has only two lifelines left, the Copa del Rey final and the La Liga title race. These are the final doors through which they might salvage a season in freefall. If they can mount a spectacular comeback against Barcelona in the final, and then follow that with a miraculous sprint to snatch the league title right from under their rival's nose, then everything could change. It is that kind of dramatic finish, the legendary kind, that could bring Jude Bellingham back into the Ballon d'Or conversation, and even Mbappe could re-enter the race. But the first condition is clear. Real Madrid must beat Barcelona. The second, their stars must produce performances that go beyond greatness, not the timid shadows that were crushed by Arsenal. Football, after all, is not just numbers. People remember moments. They remember the emotion, the nights when televisions across the globe are glued to the screen. And right now, Real Madrid and its brightest stars are lacking both. Unless a miracle appears in May, this could be the first time in years that no Real Madrid player features among the Ballon d'Or finalists. What makes this year's Ballon d'Or race particularly interesting is that no one has truly broken away from the pack. There is no all-conquering Lionel Messi, no unstoppable Cristiano Ronaldo, not even the consistency of last season's Erling Haaland. The leading contenders have been very good, but no one has been undisputed. And that vacuum opens a narrow, but real, window of opportunity for Mbappe and Bellingham, the last two standing from Real Madrid. Of course, the favorites right now are likely to come from Barcelona. Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, perhaps even Robert Lewandowski, any one of them could lock up the Ballon d'Or if Barcelona wins the Champions League or La Liga. But what if Barcelona stumbles? What if Real Madrid steals both the league title and the domestic cup? Then the entire race shifts. Real Madrid's chance, however small, suddenly becomes valid, because collective glory is always the foundation for individual awards. If Real pulls off a domestic double, shattering Barcelona's dreams, Bellingham and Mbappe instantly become top-tier contenders. But trophies alone will not be enough. They need to leave their mark. They must deliver iconic performances. Especially in the two remaining El Clásicos. Those matches cannot end with tame scorelines like 1-0 or 2-1. Real needs moments of madness. Mbappe needs a night of pure brilliance, a hat-trick, or a solo goal weaving past four defenders in stoppage time. Bellingham needs to dominate the midfield, scoring, assisting, and controlling the match like a true general. They need nights that make the whole world stand up and applaud. Nights that scream Ballon d'Or. If they fail to deliver that kind of magic, then even if Real Madrid lifts a trophy, individual honors will likely go to the names that have been building their case all year long. But if either of them creates something unforgettable, at the perfect moment, then one explosive month could rewrite the entire narrative. The only question is who will seize that moment, who will turn the final stretch of the season into their own personal stage. For Mbappe and Bellingham, the odds are thin, but football always saves its greatest rewards for those who know how to create miracles at exactly the right time.